Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today, as you might have figured out from the title, I'm going to be playing with my big brother Z. That's right, you may or may not know I do have a big bro. He's absolutely lovely, awesome, and we do manage to play some games together sometime. Although, I will admit, this year he hasn't played World of Tanks at all. He has been bit by the Fortnite bug, and he has been doing very well in that, and he always carries me when we go and play duos or when we play some squads together. But today, it is my turn to kind of freshen him back up in World of Tanks, and it was actually really fun to do so because we managed to get in, and this is one of the first games we played together, and he hasn't played in 6 months or 7 months or something, and he was like, okay, what's this map? Glacier. And so I had to reapproach the whole way of, you know, how you would play the game. I'm telling him, okay, well, let's hit the mid-ridge, and I'm saying a tank's going to be able to sneak up the slope, and then we're going to be able to have good shots on them. And then what I thought is, well, this is a good opportunity, and by the way, this game was played completely off-stream. Sometimes I do just play World of Tanks for myself, and I still love playing this game just with some good buddies offline occasionally. And it just made me reapproach the whole way that I thought through my commentary, and also the way that I would play the game. Because you can get so used to doing all the little things, right? Taking it completely for granted that you forget about that this game has changed significantly. Although, one thing I will mention is that I did say to him, yeah, the game looks pretty good now, right? And he was like, yeah, it's okay. Now, my brother is always a little bit understated. And that's one of the things that I love about him. And so I'm always trying to figure out whether he really likes something or not. But it also dawned on me that while 1.0 was great, it wasn't kind of this, wow, amazing, this is the new AAA title that everybody's going to be playing, right? And when it comes down to it, the gameplay has to be there. And so it's still very important that Wargaming, even though they've given us this fantastic patch this year, and I think the game visually and physics-wise is in a better state than ever. Although, I personally don't like the way that you're not able to go down slopes anymore. Does that annoy any of you out there? It was absolutely infuriating for me that you can't leave mines. They're the center of mines safely, apart from in some very new locations that we're having to learn. But apart from that, I think, gameplay-wise, the game's in as good a position as it ever has been. At least with regards to the physics and the graphics. I'm not going to be talking about the matchmaker and so on and so forth. And the game that we're in now is a good example of why the 357 template is absolute garbage, because it's kind of like whichever platoon is going to be able to dominate the other. And as you might have seen, after we saw that the enemy platoon was on the mid-ridge, I decided, well, why don't we just go and blitz the heavy alleyway, right? Because what are two Soviet medium tanks going to do on the mid-ridge? Just going to sit there, extend some view range. They don't really have any chance to use their side scraping potential and just get up in the faces of your opponents, which is where you want to be with the Object 430U. And so why don't we just leave the M60 and probably his K91 buddy just doing not very much in the middle of the map, and me and Z can go across to the heavy alleyway and play with our Soviet medium tanks here and try and create a breakthrough. So that's the plan. So I come round, I'm putting pressure on this Emil. I realize there's a Tiger 2 there, and I'm going to be able to put a big old shell right into his vehicle, waiting for Z's gun to get out of the way. And now Z's aiming there, and so I figure out, okay, Z's got the Tiger 2. I'm going to just try and make sure this Emil doesn't come around the corner and shoot Z anymore in the side as he was. So the Tiger 2 puts one into us, but big mistake, buddy. And that was a very important kill for us, because now there's nobody on our flank and we can just focus directly in front of us, which is obviously key. Z comes round, picks up his first kill of the game, shutting down the tier 9 Swedish autoloader. And see, he's looking pretty fresh considering he hasn't played in 6 months, right? He's not a bad World of Tanks player, as you can see from his statistics, especially considering he's only played 10,000 games. Only 10,000 games? Well, there's still quite a lot of games to have played in World of Tanks, right? But now that I'm starting to get towards 50k, yeah, it's starting to get a bit scary. Alright, shoot the Emil in the side there. What's important to note about that tier 8 Swedish auto-loading heavy tank is that its side armor is only 20mm thick, and so if you have a 61mm caliber gun, just shoot the Emil in the side, you're always going to go through. So unfortunately, there's a standard B that managed to sneak above us, and he put a load of rounds into Z, but I'm more focused on taking out this 277. So I fired an armor-piercing round through the upper plate of the 277, showing you it isn't fantastic, and I'm going to reload a Heat 1 just to secure the kill there, because I can't afford to lose any more hit points. Plus, with the standard B putting pressure up on us from above, while his reload is exceptionally long and it's going to take him at least about 20 to 30 seconds to be able to get a full magazine back in, we had to kill that tank quickly to then leave this position and go and readdress this tier 9 auto-loading Italian medium tank above us. And so, what I want to mention is that Z wasn't really too impressed by the new graphics, and I think when it comes down to it, that's something that we really have to stress, that sure, the graphics might have, shall we say, opened up World of Tanks to a new audience who would have never have played it because it looked like trash. Or maybe it will allow a few players to maybe give it a go again. But Wargaming really needs to realize that it's about content and it's about gameplay. That is what keeps people hooked. Now look at Fortnite, for example, a game that Z's been playing religiously for the last 6 months. It's not really a game that looks the best, right? I don't think anyone would claim that Fortnite looks absolutely incredible, but everybody's playing it because it's got that killer mix of gameplay. Now this is a very interesting moment. I'm going up the slope, the M60 doesn't spot me, but Z tells me on TeamSpeak that his sixth sense has popped. So that must be because either the 430U has slightly better camera rating, or alternatively, it is down to the fact that Z doesn't have crew skills. Now, we had to get through that gap there because the M60 was going to shoot up at us. I hope I didn't really give my brother a little bit of a bump from behind there, but we only had one choice. We either die from the M60 from behind, or we get forwards and finish off the Italian auto-reloader before he unloads all of his shells. So, unfortunately, Z takes a fall here. Maybe it was a bit of a miscalculation by us to... I thought that we could sneak up there and that maybe we would catch the standard B, not that the M60 would manage to get a spot on us. And that really shows you the difference between having a good crew and having an excellent crew, right? Now I'm sure that Z has a good crew on his Object 140, but I have a phenomenal crew. Well, actually I've only got a 4-skill crew on my 430U, but I definitely have tried to take in concealment across the crew, and this 430U just seems like this unidentified flying object, which is also quite cloaking. Now, there you go, right up into the turret of the Revelarice. They tried to do the same thing that we did, but luckily for me, he got spotted out by the Object 277 below, who definitely allowed me to not get caught with my pants down there and by the Tier 8 French premium medium tank. Alright, so I'm up to 6 kills. Z picked up his kill, and I definitely wouldn't be in this position without him. I would have died going up that slope if we didn't have the capacity of a platoon, and that's something that's just really fun to have, and something that I've been missing a little bit recently. I have to admit, on my streams I've been playing a lot of solo. If anybody's been watching my streams for a long time, you'll know that back in the day, damn, I was playing with Paul, aka Jingles, and my good buddy Ike all the time, and we're having an absolute blast. So this is actually a very interesting moment as well. T10 below us, and it looks like the proxy distance is not like a sphere. It looks like it's just a ring around the tank, and so even though I'm so far above him and quite far away from the vehicle, he's still proxy spotting me. But that also works two ways. I'm proxy spotting him, and this is such an unusual situation, right, to be so far above an enemy tank, and this is something that I think that is quite fun in World of Tanks. And I'd like to say that Glacier has been one of my more enjoyable maps that Wargaming have put into the game recently. And so if any of the map designers or the developers out there are thinking about whether we like height in World of Tanks, I think we do. I think, especially when you're in a medium or a light tank, height is fantastic. And even when you're in a heavy tank, if you can try and get up in that position, you can hide your lower plate, then it can be exceptionally good. And I think just the difference, it makes the gameplay feel different, right? It gives you a strategic choice, and I think that's what we want. We want more varying maps and just more opportunities to be able to dictate the way that the combat goes, and just not everything to be, okay, let's put 3 linear passes on a map, let's kind of make it symmetrical, and then we'll give every different tank type a place to fight on the map. I'm not sure if that's what we want. Well, we kind of want the latter part of what I said. Every tank should be able to be competitive on all of the maps. However, I think that just having a little bit of the variation on Glacier, for me, is really enjoyable. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of that in the future, now that we've got Great Wall going in, and there's also going to be a Minsk map from Belarus coming up soon. That should be interesting, although that's not really going to have any hype. Belarus is pretty much as flat as a pancake. We've also got Great Wall, the Chinese map, coming in. It's going to be interesting. We'll have to see how it works out. So from here on, I'm just thinking maybe I can turn my 8 kills into 10 kills, and I don't even try to shoot this T95 here. I go to see if I can find the GW Tiger, and when I figure out I can't, then I'm going to go towards the T95. When he stops tunnel visioning, turns himself towards me, I shoot his tracks on the move, and then I'm going to get up behind him for just the coup de grace. This is the kill shot. This is where you want to be on a T95, and let me just highlight this for you all. that if you shoot the... I'm giving him a bit of a salute from behind here, which is a bit brutal. But yeah, what I wanted to highlight here is that if you shoot the T-95 from the front on the tracks, you're actually not going to go into the hull because the hull is obviously back here. So the front tracks are kind of like a bait. So what you want to do is you want to track the T-95 from the front, then get through to the side. And then if you shoot it here, it of course goes through the track and goes into the hull. And this is something that's not unique to the T-95. This is definitely an example of a situation where it really matters about your positioning and how you're shooting the tracks if you also want to damage the vehicle behind them. So I have to admit, we didn't really deserve to pick up 9 kills and get a Randley Walters in this game. We only dealt 5,400 damage, and I think more of it should have gone Z's way, but obviously that was just down to crew skills. One of those ugly kind of play to win mechanics, I guess, from World of Tanks coming out there. But we got a steel wall for our 430U. This thing is very heavily armored, blocking 2,450 damage in a high caliber, and we didn't fire many premium rounds here, so we make a decent profit. But this result was not so much about the performance. While we clearly did have more of an influence than the enemy platoon, it was more about a realization for me, is that sometimes I do take World of Tanks for granted, and it's really nice to just play it for myself, offline, in a platoon with my brother. And when I say offline, I kind of mean off stream, right? And also that he kind of opened my eyes about 1.0 is that not everybody is raving about it. And with World of Tanks at a very fragile time with regards to its population, Wargaming seriously needs to step it up with awesome game modes like Frontline, with new content, new tanks, new events, new personal missions, for goodness sake. Give us some content to keep us interested and playing the game, Wargaming. Because while there's no doubt that the game is now absolutely gorgeous and I love the HD maps, it's no substitute for content and gameplay. And so that's it for today, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. But if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released, it's time for another World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, the winner is the FV4005 Stage 2, which I just had the pleasure of seeing at Tankfest a couple of weeks ago. And so come along right now as I play the vehicle with the highest alpha damage now in World of Tanks at 1,750. And of course, start at tier 1 and work my way up towards it so you can see if it's a line that's worth grinding, or alternatively, if you already have the tanks, maybe pick up a few tips and tricks along the way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.